Guys, when it comes down to it, you stayed where you were supposed to stay, and that was right on the field. You stayed focused, you corrected some things, you made some things happen, and some of you guys rose to the occasion and made plays.
Coach Rivera happy in the locker room after the comeback victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars in the season opener last weekend. We will talk with Coach about what he saw from his team in the W and break down how Montez Sweat and the defense got to the Jags quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. Well, it is nice to celebrate the wins. We are on to week 2 and a road showdown with the Detroit Lions. Coach reviews some of the game tape to talk about what makes DeAndre Swift and the Lions offense go. And you ask, Coach Ron Rivera answers. We have some burning questions from you, the fans. It is your direct line to the head coach of the Commanders, and it is all coming your way right now on Command Center, Coach Commands with Ron Rivera. Command Center, Coach Commands is presented by your local Honda dealer. Shopping for a certified pre-owned Honda is a bright idea. Get peace of mind with a 182-point inspection report and more. Plus, all the features and benefits you love from a new Honda. See your local Honda dealer and find your perfect certified pre-owned Honda today. And welcome on in here with the head coach, Ron Rivera. And of course, Logan Paulsen is standing by to go into the film room with Coach. There's a lot of good stuff on tape from week 1 that we're looking forward to breaking down. So, Coach, let's talk a little bit about that. You get the victory over the Jags, and it wasn't without, a lot of emotions going into it. The fan base was riding high, riding low. But what did you learn about your team that they were able to finish strong, have a comeback, and get that victory that you say, okay, let's apply this now to week 2?
Well, I think the biggest thing, Julie, is about the resiliency. We started fast. We had a little bit of a lull. We got down. But the way they sparked and came back and made things happen, that was big. That really was, and in all 3 phases. And that's the thing that you can sit there and say, this really was a team victory.
And Carson Wentz, we were waiting to see, okay, just what is this offense going to look like with the veteran quarterback, with the arm that he has, more than what we had seen before in the preseason. Well, we saw a lot of creativity from offensive coordinator Scott Turner. You have to go and do that again. You now have stuff on film for them to be able to look at from what you can do. What is the challenge in continuing that?
Well, I think really as we go through this, the challenge is going to be, okay, who's going to be the next guy that we're going to feature early, or what position will we feature early? That's going to open up things for everybody else. If you go back and look at what he did, he saw that Curtis had the hot hand. So he went with Curtis early. And then later in the game, as you start watching some of the things they were doing, it was like they were moving some of their coverages toward Curtis. Well, that opened up some things for other guys. And that's the thing that, the challenge will be. Who's going to have the hot hand this coming Sunday early?
You have one ball, and we're always saying you have to spread it around. They had 7 different receivers that he threw the ball to, including the way that you used the run game. What did you see from Carson on how he was able to make the decisions, and then even stay steady after making some mistakes or a couple of turnovers back to back?
Well, the biggest thing is, again, we tried to throw passes to 10 different guys. 7 different guys caught the ball. We had 5 different guys run the ball. So again, when you're spreading the ball like that, who do they focus on? Because one thing we did note was early in the game, they started to roll towards Terry. Well, later in the game, Terry ends up out there one-on-one, and what do? We take a shot and throw a touchdown pass. So that's the thing that, you have to be able to do, is understand what's going on and how are we going to do things.
So they're going to be looking at your tape against the Jags to see how they can try and stop you. Meanwhile, you've got a game now. I mean, they kind of gave Philadelphia all they could handle. Yep. A lot of offense going on in this game. What do you take from that to say, okay, this is our way to attack?
Well, one thing I found interesting, really looking at it, I really thought Detroit never wavered offensively. They stuck to their game plan because, again, running the ball is a big part of what they can do. They ran the ball well early, jumped out to a quick lead, but then they had a lull, and next thing you know, Philly's got this great big lead. But in the end of the third quarter, into the fourth quarter, they stuck to their game plan. They ran the ball, had good balance, throwing it in certain situations that said they should be throwing it, they ran it. So they were able to do some things because I thought they stuck to their game plan.
DeAndre Swift is a huge part of their offense. 175 scrimmage yards that he had against the Eagles, and what he's able to do on the ground, and the average he had per carry. You probably gave up more against the run than you would have liked. 7 yards per carry is what you gave up against the Jags. So how do you try and stop somebody that can be that dynamic with an offensive line that was kind of helping them out?
Well, I think a little big part of it right now is you kind of now understand what to expect. We weren't quite sure what to expect from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now we feel pretty comfortable about what we can expect against the Lions. Now, they're going to have a couple more wrinkles, but at least we've seen some stuff. We have some stuff on tape.
They have some other guys in the passing game as well. How did you feel your secondary and kind of the units in the front and everything? You talk about them playing together. How do you feel that went to go into this Lions game?
I think it's going to be very important. One of the things that we got to do is we've got to be disciplined, first of all, in our run gaps. And we got to play the run on our way to the quarterback. In other words, get into your gap assignment, get vertical, and if it's run, shut it down and make a play. If it's pass, keep going. So if we can do that, and then we can go ahead and mesh the coverage with the rush, we give ourselves a chance to be successful. In fact, Logan and I will break something down like that.
Oh, looking forward to it. How much does it matter for you kind of going into playing in an indoor dome compared to being like outside?
This will be different just because of the noise. That's probably the biggest factor more than anything else is, they had a really good crowd, a good opening crowd, and they're going to follow it up with another good crowd.
Their coaching staff, a lot of former players. We've heard some of them even talking about they were underneath you with the Eagles with their offensive line coach. Played what? You played
Hank Fraley.
Yeah, and he said you're his badminton teammate.
No, it was racquetball. Racquetball.
Hopefully you get those wins, and hopefully you get the win on Sunday as well. While Coach heads over to join Logan at the touchscreen, let's talk a little bit about the Commanders' defense on Sunday. Still missing Chase Young, but his counterpart on the other side of the line, Montez Sweat, looked really good in the season opener. Sweat recorded 3 solo tackles and got to the Jags quarterback Trevor Lawrence 3 times, putting pressure on Lawrence while it was a bright spot for Washington's defense last weekend. Presented by Mavenspire. Ransomware goes 3 and out with Mavenspire's Smart as a Service cybersecurity offerings. Learn more at mavenspire.com. Logan and Coach, take it away.
Julie, thanks so much here with Coach Ron Rivera. As always, it's such a pleasure. We're going to talk a little bit about the rush today, right? But like with any good rush, there has to be good coverage here. Yes. And I think you guys are in some type of quarters coverage here. We got these guys in the back here. They're going to kind of fall back into this quarter shell here, and they got to match this stuff. And I think they do a really nice job of this, which allows the rush to get home. Right,
and for the most part, because we are in our quarters concept, it is really about matching and making sure we got guys over the top of people that we need to have them over. Because that, for the most part, when the team's trying to get the ball downfield vertically, that's going to give our pass rush time to get after the quarterback.
And again, you guys know that here because this is 3rd and 15, 3rd and 12, something like that. So I love how the guys are being really disciplined here. Yes. They're all kind of getting to their spots. They're falling underneath stuff, really deep, kind of protecting those sticks as opposed to kind of taking the cheese. No one wants to jump up on this guy and kind of,
Right, that's a rally up and tackle, make them punt the ball.
In terms of first down. But I think the real exciting part of this play is the rush here. And something you said to me a couple weeks ago now, and learn something new every time we talk, right, is that you don't really run games from a shade here, from someone who's lined up over the center. So someone like in this position here, right? Because the tackle doesn't expect it, right? I coach high school football. I say if you get a 3 technique, set vertical nice and tight, expect the game. But here, not on your radar, and it does an excellent job here in terms of allowing Montez Sweat to win inside on this rush and on the loop around the edge.
Yeah, and what happens on this is really, if you got to watch how Jonathan engages with the guard. Right, he's heavy on the guard. He's not heavy on the center, because if he was heavy on the center, that would allow the guard to just stick his hand out and work out and take Montez's inside charge away.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so what he does, he works heavy to the guard, get his attention, work inside. Yeah. And now what we could call is entertain and then contain. Okay. So he's going to entertain the guard, and then once he sees that, he's going to work outside. Now, what happens with Montez? Montez is going to have the first shot, and he's going to go for the inside of the quarterback. Why? Because he knows Jonathan's going to contain. Okay, and once Jonathan goes to contain, he has basically flushed him to Jonathan.
Yeah, and I love that. I love how, like you mentioned the details there, and I think the thing is, you can see it so clearly in this film, like John's hand on the outside pad here, right? And how he's captured it, right? So no way that the guard can get back out there. And like you said, Montez is a big, strong dude, and for him to run straight to the quarterback is excellent. And again, to flush him out right here, that's how you draw it up. And I love, because you guys did that all throughout the game, which was great.
Well, it's one of the things these guys constantly work on, are the different line games, line stunts that they can run.
Yeah, and you said they run a whole bunch of those every single day, right?
Yes.
And again, here's another line stunt, right? And again, everybody working together. And I love this, what'd you call it? You call it a knot stunt? Yeah, and again, the physicality with which Paynes does this and how it kind of disrupts everything. And even there's some nuance here by Allen, too, as well, I think.
Absolutely. Again, if you watch what happens, again, what we have to do is we've got to drive into the guard who's going to work towards the center. And the key, though, is what now has to happen is we can't take our eyes and throw our eyes opposite of where we're going, because if we do, what happens is they can pass the stump, but they don't. So what Jonathan does, again, he gets the center's attention. Okay, and
Would
if
you say
Johnson's
entertain, right?
entertain, and now he's going to go ahead and again, it's a great pick stunt. But what's even better is it's a better ricochet by 94.
Yeah, oh.
Duran, instead of burying himself, ricochets off of the center and gets vertical.
Yeah,
what happens on this, and this is what we talk about, making sure that that both rushes are working in unison. Watch how the defensive ends get to the level of the quarterback and force him to step up, and he's got nowhere to go.
Yeah, and we talked about this before. Like Montez, just the feel here, gets a little bit wide, but right there at the level of the quarterback you're talking about, he starts bullying into the tackle, and again, compresses the pocket so that there's nowhere for that guy to go.
And the nice thing is, watch how they finish the stunt. Like you said earlier, all 4 guys on the quarterback.
I mean, that's good stuff, man. I'd love to see that against Detroit this week. Coach, thank you so much.
Right.
Always a pleasure, man.
Thank you, guys. Now, for everything you need to know about the team, do not miss our flagship show, Command Center. Join myself, former tight end and film room expert Logan Paulsen, and our wideout 8 to the 9, Santana Moss, every day for your Commanders fix, highlights, analysis, and inside access that you will not get anywhere else. You can see every episode on our YouTube channel and on commanders.com. You can also check us out on NBC Sports Washington weekdays at 5:30 and 10 p.m. Now, do not go anywhere, because when we come back, Coach is taking you inside his office to review some of the game tape on our Week 2 opponent, specifically what makes DeAndre Swift and the Lions offense go. And a little later, you have questions. Coach has answers. Real fans asking real questions to the head coach. That is coming your way in Command Center, Coach Commands with Ron Rivera, presented by your local Honda dealer. Here's a look at how the Commanders and Lions stack up heading into tomorrow's matchup. A good bit of offense from both teams. As far as yards against, well, Washington had the advantage there, 383 to 455. It is that time of year for the very first road trip of the season as head coach Ron Rivera takes his team up to Detroit to the Motor City. Now, trying to stop the Lions means you need to try and stop their rush attack and one DeAndre Swift that had 177 yards from scrimmage. It was a career day for him. So how do you slow them down? Well, Logan is with Coach in his office. It is the Rivera Review presented by DC Prime. All stakes are not created equal.
Coach, we're on to Detroit now. This is that play, everyone's talking about Detroit and how they ran the football all over Philadelphia. This is a play they run called triple, you call it triple trap, I call it wham, with the trap influence, same thing. Doug Peterson runs this. You guys have seen this before. I think Philadelphia does a poor job fitting this here. Can you talk about some of the difficulties and why this play is tough to fit?
Well, first of all, the reason why the play is such a good play is because you're creating angles for your blockers.
Yes.
More so than anything else. And it starts with, for the most part, they're attacking the 3 technique. Mm-hmm. Okay? Yep. And that being number 97 for Philadelphia. So as we watch this, from the wide angle, you're going to see all the angles that they're going to have. The first angle is going to be here. This wide receiver to the bottom of the screen has got an angle on the safety.
Love it.
Okay, so now what's going to happen is, because he's going to block the safety, the corner's got to fit. Okay, now what they're doing is they're allowing the defensive end to get upfield, and the run is going to come right off of how they block the 3 technique. Okay.
Yep.
Now as we get to the front angle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sit here and we're going to see the big influence coming from, first of all, they're going to bluff 97.
Yep.
Okay? And nobody touches him. So now right away his instincts should be telling him, okay, I've got a wham block coming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And with that, a lot of teams will cross-shoulder that, okay?
So taking his left shoulder to the tight end.
Yes, across the tight end, for trying to keep that ball compact inside,
right,
so it doesn't get up on the safety.
Yes.
Okay, up on the corner, because again, the safety is going to get cracked. Okay,
and the corner has to
and
crack
the corner
the place.
now has to tackle.
Right.
Okay, so that's what you're going to see. So now what happens is he's one-on-one with a corner.
Yeah.
The corner doesn't necessarily want to have to tackle the running back who's got a full head of steam.
Right,
and again, that's the truth of it. It's a tough play to ask the corner, hey, read pass.
Yep.
See the crack,
and make
replace,
the
and now make the tackle.
And so one thing that I noticed too is last week Derek Forrest did an excellent job when a receiver came to crack him, knocking that receiver's teeth in.
Yes.
How important would that be on this play for the safety to play that block physically?
Well, very important, because what happens is if he attacks the receiver right? And stuffs him back into the hole. Now the ball's going to have to bounce. And when the ball bounces, the runner no longer has a downhill run at the corner. It's kind of interesting because that's one of the things that last year, going back to Antonio Gibson, that we used to tell Antonio, if you get in the second level, don't dance and run sideways. That's what they want. Go right at him, make him have to square up and shoulder tackle you, and you're going to break a lot of tackles.
Yeah, so there, just if the 3 technique plays it a little bit cleaner, the back's got a bubble. If the safety plays it cleaner, the back's got a bubble. That's 2 people kind of out of position that put the corner in a tough spot.
Absolutely. And again, that's why it's so successful. So, we've had an opportunity to look at it. We've had an opportunity to rep it. Hopefully it clicks for our guys.
Gets dialed in, right? And again, this is another play. It's just duo to the front side, and the back cuts it back to the back side. And it just, to me, it shows like how important everybody's fit is when you're fitting runs here. Because it's, Seven's on the back side of this run, gets a little bit loose, and ends up being a 6-yard gain off of a kind of a nothing run.
And it's interesting because, again, if you look at it, they're playing some form of either quarters or cover 2, okay?
And you know that because the middle of the field is open.
Correct. And so now what happens is it's an optimal opportunity for them to run. They've got big personnel in the game. They've got 2 tight ends. And again, duo is one of these zone plays where they're just doubling up, giving the ball to the back and letting him find the crease, and then he cuts inside and makes a play out of it. And for the most part, he cuts it to the backside. And as you look at it, the big thing that has to happen is the linebackers have to get downhill. If they don't get downhill into their gaps and take those double teams off, okay, that allows these guys to stay with their blockers longer. And if they can stay with their blocks longer, that means they can go ahead and control the defensive line. And so what you see again, you see pass rush mode by the left defensive end. He's going to get upfield. He's going to create this huge seam. You're going to see the wide receiver coming down to crack the safety. And again, they're going to ask the corner to have to come in and make a tackle.
And it's just such a big hole for the cornerback have to make that play. And if 7 squeezes that as opposed to going up the field, again, you get into that bubble scenario you were talking about earlier. So just people being disciplined, just doing your job. And some of these runs don't even happen.
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that I know Jack has talked with in the defensive meetings to these guys, and that is about playing sound, discipline, run gap responsibility. If you can do that and force this team to be one-dimensional, you can slow them down because this really is a very good running team.
Absolutely. Coach, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate it.
We want to see you at the next home game at FedEx Field, and you do not want to miss the first NFC East matchup of the season when the Commanders take on the Eagles Sunday, September 25th, 1 p.m. Tickets start at $71 while supplies last. Get your official Ticketmaster verified tickets at commanders.com/tickets. Command the stands. On game days, do not miss Command Center Game Day Live, the official pregame show of the Washington Commanders. We're live on the air starting 2 hours before kickoff, and that will be 11 a.m. tomorrow in Detroit. You can watch on our YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter. After the game, do not miss Command Center Postgame Live for reaction analysis and interviews with the head coach Ron Rivera and quarterback Carson Wentz. You can also find that on YouTube. Take command of your game days. Now, do not go anywhere because when we come back, Coach Rivera is fielding questions from you, the fans. It is your direct line to the head coach, and it is coming up next on Command Center, Coach Commands with Ron Rivera, presented by your local Honda dealer. And welcome back. It is time now for our fan questions presented by the Maryland Lottery. Play fast, win fast with new fast play games from the Maryland Lottery. And we welcome you back in here with head coach Ron Rivera. It is time for our fan questions. They really love doing this. I hope you don't mind that we put you through it, but let's go straight to it. And here is fan question number 1.
Coach Rivera, this is for you. How ready is the defense this season versus last season?
There you go.
Very simple, very basic. I think the defense compared to last year is, I think, a little more mature. And again, that was one of my concerns last year. We had a group of young guys, had some success early. Now we have a group of guys that are coming off of a down season, and they know that they were humbled by it, a little more humility in terms of our preparation and practices, and I really like the way they're playing. I thought they played with a lot of energy this past Sunday, and that followed up because we had a real good week of work. Well, we've had a good week of work so far. I'm looking forward to seeing where we are Sunday.
And we like the aggressiveness as well, and now they know exactly what's being asked of them from defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio, where before you're kind of still learning it. They've got that time to have played together. together. So should be improved by all means. Okay, question number 2.
Hey, Coach Rivera. First of all, I want to thank you for what you've done for the organization since coming to Washington. I want to know if, based on what you've seen in training camp and the preseason, do you think Jamin Davis is going to have a breakout year? Thanks a lot.
Many people are saying this because we saw that first year was a bit of an adjustment. And at linebacker, it is known to be a difficult position to go from college to the pros. What should we get this year?
Well, I think we should get an improved version of Jamin. Jamin's a terrific athlete, got a great skill set, can run and hit, has great speed, good quickness. Now, again, for him, it is learning and understanding the scheme and what we do and how we do it. It is a little more complicated than what he did in college. He's still growing. His first game, I thought, was average. I thought he could have been better. Same thing with Cole. I thought Cole could have played a little bit better, too. I think both those guys really are kind of feeling their way and getting a little bit used to what we're doing. But I do expect that this is an opportunity for Jamin and Cole both to step up and be really sound players for us this season.
He said that he's understanding how to study the game, watch film, and how Cole's really kind of helping him that well as he's kind of really taking over that Mike position, and the confidence with that should come being able to play much faster as well. Fan question number 3.
Hey, Coach, it's the rally captain, and the question that I have is, what do you see is the biggest change from last year to this year?
Besides that big W chain, that's pretty sweet, though, by the way.
It is. I think, Jillian, when you look at, there's a lot of things that are better, that are improved, that are changed. First and foremost, we are the Commanders now. We know who we are. We have the logo, we have the uniforms. Second thing, on the field, we went out, we found our quarterback, a guy that we want to try and ride his shoulders into the season and beyond. So that's been another big thing. We got a lot of healthy guys on the football field. I think we're another year into the program, and I think those are all important contributors to us having an opportunity to be a better football team.
And what we've talked about a lot too, a lot of options on offense, which just make it really exciting to watch. Okay, final question here.
Okay.
Hey, Coach Rivera, Justin Wilcox here, University of California Golden Bears. What was the best part about playing football at Cal? Go Bears.
Oh, I love the opportunity to answer that question. And I appreciate Justin taking time for this. For me, in all honesty, was just the whole college experience. My college experience was one of the coolest things, and I will always cherish those moments. Several reasons. First and foremost, I graduated from the University of California, Berkeley. I got to play close to home, so my parents got to see my games. My mom missed only one game in my entire college career, and that was when we played Army at Army. That was just a tough flight to get to and place to get, so she didn't get to be there. And then probably the most important thing, though, is I met my wife there.
I like that. Perfect answer. Perfect way to finish this show. Coming back 2-0. I'm already speaking that into existence. Thanks so much, and thank you all for joining us here on Coach.